and thank you for attending today's Illinois High-Speed Rail public hearing. The purpose of this meeting is to provide information on the proposed crossing closures and corridor improvements on 3rd Street. The Chicago to St. Louis corridor has been considered for high-speed service since the mid-1980s. Ridership has continued to grow on this route, and in 1992, the corridor was designated as a future high-speed rail route. An environmental impact statement was completed in 2004 and approved by the Federal Railroad Administration, allowing for the creation of the Illinois High-Speed Rail Program. The Illinois High-Speed Rail, or HSR, travels from Chicago to St. Louis with 9 stops in between. Improvements to the rail line are taking place between Joliet and East St. Louis. The HSR program will upgrade 262 miles of track on the Amtrak Lincoln Service Corridor, including drainage improvements and new and upgraded siding to allow trains to travel at speeds up to 110 miles per hour. The Illinois High-Speed Rail will offer an improved passenger experience, including a more reliable schedule, reduced travel times, and updated amenities such as free Wi-Fi service on the trains, as well as additional comforts and conveniences at new and upgraded stations. Most important to this corridor are the improvements made to increase safety. This includes repairing or replacing bridges, installation of fencing, pedestrian and quadrant gates, as well as warning signs and signal systems. The HSR program received $1.95 billion for corridor improvements between Joliet and St. Louis based on the 2004 record of decision. This funding will permit improvements to be made to the existing single track. About half of the funding is dedicated to infrastructure improvements such as track, grade crossings, bridges, fencing, and related construction. 6 new train sets are being built for service on this corridor. Nippon Sharyo in Rochelle, Illinois is building the passenger cars, and Siemens is building the new diesel locomotives. The first locomotive will be delivered this year. Much work has been underway since 2010. Construction and public outreach are ongoing throughout the corridor. The infrastructure needed to operate trains at speeds up to 110 miles per hour is anticipated to be complete in 2017. Significant construction work has been completed throughout the corridor. 2 of the key initiatives were rehabilitating the mainline track and improving grade crossings throughout the corridor. Over 300 miles of new rail have been installed since 2010. 4 quadrant gates have been installed at most grade crossings, along with pedestrian gates and fencing to increase safety. Over 225 roadway approaches to these crossings have been improved, and the new station in Dwight opened. There are 3 projects taking place in Springfield: improvements to the existing 3rd Street corridor, a rail-to-rail flyover study, and improvements to the 10th Street corridor. The ultimate goal for Springfield is streamlining both freight and passenger rail traffic. These efforts include improvements on the existing 3rd Street passenger route, a new flyover near Southern View, and consolidation of rail traffic on an alignment along 10th Street. The 3rd Street improvements include track and crossing improvements. The Springfield flyover has a detailed environmental study underway. When constructed, it would consist of a new track alignment and a railway flyover near Southern View to grade separate Union Pacific Amtrak operations from Norfolk Southern operations to eliminate train congestion and improve crossing delays for vehicular traffic. The City of Springfield is planning to eventually relocate all passenger and freight traffic from the 3rd Street corridor to 10th Street. The city is leading the Springfield Rail Improvements Project in cooperation with Sangamon County and IDOT. An environmental analysis took place, and the proposed improvements include new grade separations and a new passenger rail station. IDOT supports this project and has contributed to the cost of this work. All 3 Springfield projects are conducting work simultaneously. The 3rd Street corridor construction is anticipated to be complete in 2017. An environmental study for the flyover project anticipates completion next year. On 10th Street, construction of Carpenter Street was recently completed. The city's goal is to transition the 3rd Street rail corridor to 10th Street by 2026. The 3rd Street improvements are funded by a federal grant and contributions from program partners. IDOT is funding the environmental analysis of the Springfield flyover. Funding for construction has not yet been identified. The 10th Street rail consolidation is partly funded by IDOT, as well as the Illinois Commerce Commission and federal grants for Carpenter Street and the underpass improvements at Ash Street and Laurel Street. The City of Springfield is seeking funding from a variety of sources to cover the remaining costs. The 3rd Street corridor improvements will upgrade the existing corridor and provide safety enhancements. Maximum train speeds will increase from 25 miles per hour to up to 40 miles per hour through the city, thereby improving on-time performance and overall reliability of the passenger train operations. The improvements would also allow the city to qualify for a quiet zone on 3rd Street. It is Springfield's goal to eventually apply for quiet zones throughout the city. Deteriorating bridges along the HSR corridor in the Springfield area were replaced or rehabilitated, including the bridges at 9th Street, Capitol Avenue, and Dodge Street. The Amtrak station in Springfield will receive a number of upgrades to improve safety, comfort, and convenience for passengers. These upgrades include lighting and parking improvements, as well as accessible parking and restrooms. Construction will include improving grade crossings throughout the corridor. Certain locations will receive 2-quadrant or 4-quadrant gates, pedestrian gates, fencing, and ADA accessibility signs. Roadway approaches to these crossings are being improved to provide better visibility and improve turnouts and stopping locations. Installation of an improved signal system will provide better communication with the engineer and allow for detection of vehicles blocking a crossing. In order to improve passenger rail safety and efficiency, certain crossings are being recommended for closure. A diagnostic review was conducted for all crossings to determine whether or not the crossings are frequently used, as well as the availability of alternate crossings for vehicles and pedestrians. The HSR team has worked closely with the City of Springfield and local community officials to determine the crossings best suited for closure. 5 at-grade rail crossings are recommended for closure to vehicular, pedestrian, and bicycle traffic. These at-grade crossings are located along the 3rd Street rail corridor at Union Street, Jackson Street, Kennedy Street, Allen Street, and Cedar Street. The proposed closures were assessed as to how each roadway closure would impact access, travel patterns, and travel times with respect to schools, parks, libraries, public transit, and police and fire response services. The results of this assessment indicate that, on average, the closures would create additional travel time of 2 minutes for vehicles and 4 additional minutes for pedestrians. There are some right-of-way needs for the 3rd Street corridor improvements, which may include acquisition of .68 acres of land, potential displacement of 3 residential properties, and some temporary and permanent easements. Following public review and the comment period, coordination will continue with the City of Springfield, emergency services, and schools in preparation for each of the 5 crossing closures. Land acquisition will follow the Uniform Relocation Act procedures. The 3rd Street corridor crossing closures and improvements are anticipated to be completed in 2017. Please provide your comments to a court reporter today or by filling out a comment form, which you can submit today or mail later. You may also submit comments on the HSR website at www.i.hsr.org. Comments received through December 16, 2016 will become part of the public hearing record. Your participation is an important part of the HSR program. Since 2010, we have held over 240 events, including public and small group meetings, as well as provided program information at community events and schools. There are a variety of ways for you to continue being involved. Please visit the website at www.i.hsr.org for program updates and to sign up for the mailing list. Comments can be submitted through the website or by calling the hotline. You can also follow us on Facebook and YouTube. If you are interested in doing business with us, you can find information about current business and employment opportunities, as well as sign up for future notifications on the HSR website. Please join us in the exhibit area to view the corridor aerial map and to speak with representatives from IDOT and the HSR team. Thank you for joining us today. This presentation will restart momentarily.